Okay, so I've touched on this subject in a video from a little while back, but that video touched on lots of things. For over 30 years, speculation on where the alien egg came from at the start of Alien 3 has yet to settle on an adequate answer. Many blame the android Bishop. So let's recap the problem quickly. There's an egg on the Sulaco at the start of Alien 3 as the survivors of the previous film are flying home. We don't know where this egg is exactly or how it got there. When Ripley goes to rescue Newt at the end of Aliens and returns to the landing dock, Bishop and the dropship are gone. At the last second he rises into frame, hovers as Ripley and Newt climb on board, then floors it, escaping the destruction of the atmosphere processor. The Queen stows away on board the dropship and rips Bishop in half before Ripley dumps her out of the airlock with a loader. So if Bishop's guilty of bringing the egg, we need to look at his motive and opportunity. He doesn't appear to have a motive. He is interested in the dead huggers, certainly, as he relays to Spunkmeyer. But does he have a secret agenda to get specimens? There's really no need. Burke asks Bishop to make sure they take the 2 live huggers back to Earth when they leave. Bishop volunteers this without any prompting to Ripley when she asks that they be destroyed, so no one's trying to hide it. Burke openly admits they're worth millions to the bioweapons division, and it could make them both very rich. There is the question of getting it past ICC quarantine, but that's really Burke's problem, not Bishop's. Bishop was just doing as he was asked, and then telling Ripley when she asks him to do something that conflicts with what Burke asked. And being an android, Bishop doesn't really have any motives of his own. It's likely that if he had anything akin to desire, it would be to learn more about the aliens. But if he was capable of having a secret agenda, he could simply have lied to Ripley that he would destroy the specimens and then not do it. That doesn't happen. The obvious counter-argument for this is that he's a company robot with secret programming. Firstly, we don't know that he's a company robot. The film doesn't tell us who made him. It tells us that Ash from the first film was a Hyperdyne Systems 120A2. Doesn't say Ash or Bishop were made by Weyland-Yutani. To be fair, Bishop 2 in Alien 3 is working with the company, if not for the company, so it's possible that Bishop was manufactured by Weyland-Yutani. However, the script says Bishop is with the Extrasolar Colonization Administration, or ECA, and he has a Sulaco patch on his uniform with the regiment he's attached to. Neither of these are the company. So we have no solid proof that the company made him, and they don't own him, nor does he need any secret programming. If you want a robot to do something, you give it an order. Ash wasn't secretly programmed. He was given an order which he followed. Now Ash was compelled to follow that order, including the crew expendable bit because he lacked behavioural inhibitors. Bishop has behavioural inhibitors and indicates Ash's model did not. He can't harm or, by omission of action, allow to be harmed a human being. This is almost verbatim from Isaac Asimov's first law of robotics. It's fair to assume that he has a second and third law as well. Again, the counter here is, well, of course he would say that. So let's look if his actions bear this out. He volunteers to go to the uplink tower to remote pilot down the dropship. If he did not do this, the humans in his company would very likely die, as would he, particularly as he was the only one qualified. There may be some ambiguity in him warning Ripley against going after Newt. He does try to stop her, but he can't physically follow through because he has no way of knowing that she will be harmed or not. He ensures that Hicks is safe while he's injured on the dropship by hovering nearby instead of staying on an unstable platform. He hangs around till almost the last second to see if Ripley got out so he can pick her up. Abandoning her prematurely would violate his programming. Then on the Sulaco, despite being torn in half, he rescues Newt from getting blown out into space. So lots of big ticks for Bishop telling the truth about his programming. A common counter-argument for him sticking around to save Ripley and Newt is that he needed hosts. He didn't. The company would want a specimen. Hosts are abundant on Earth. Plus he already had one who wasn't going to put up any sort of fight. Which brings us to opportunity. When could he have secured an egg? The common arguments are, after the initial sweep of the colony? That doesn't work because we don't know where the eggs are. Plus someone would have to fly it up to the Sulaco and back, a round trip of about 100 minutes plus refuelling time, where the Marines are without air support. As green as he is, there's no way Gorman is authorising that. The next opportunity to get an egg? He fudged the figures on the time to crawl to the uplink tower and fly the dropship down. This doesn't work because we cut to Bishop a couple of times while he's there and he's always busy. Plus we see him, Hicks and Ripley board the dropship and no egg. Oh, but he landed before Ripley and Hicks got there, loaded the egg, took off again, then landed again, so it would look like the ship just arrived. If we suspend our disbelief, why would he take off again? If his secret programming mission is to get an egg, and we can only assume he ran over to the atmosphere processor, got one, and then ran back, somehow, then he can just take off when he has the egg and go home. Why wait? Next argument. He landed after dropping Ripley off, ran into the station, got an egg, ran back, and took off just in time to pick up Ripley. Doing this places Hicks in harm's way. He can't do that. If his secret mission is to get an egg and it overrides his law of robotics, then he could just fly back to the Sulaco. He's risking his secret mission by hanging around and waiting. Bishop has neither motive nor opportunity without making things up that aren't in the movie. These arguments are born out of a need to explain what happened in Alien 3, which is fair, and an absence of media literacy, which is dumb. Bishop is the anti-Ash, but we perceive him through Ripley. From her viewpoint, everything he does is sus, so we as the audience share her knowledge of Ash and don't trust Bishop either, right up to the point that she finds the dropship gone. Even after they land, he feels the need to apologise for scaring them, such is Ripley's hostility throughout the film, at which point she finally acknowledges that he did okay. When you look at what Bishop does in the film, without Ripley's tainted perspective, he isn't suspect at all. When Ripley rewires him in Alien 3, he's nothing but helpful, like he was in Aliens. The only time he pauses is when Ripley asks if there was an alien on board the Sulaco. This isn't to hide anything, but he's trying to avoid harming her by delivering particularly bad news. Doubly bad when he says that the alien came with him on the EEV. Long story short, no. Bishop had nothing to do with the egg getting on the ship. He's one of the good guys.